I'm going to be breaking down glycolysis on the MCAT. And with every cycle you're studying for metabolism for this test, you have to know three things: the where, the what, and the why. I think focusing on the big picture is super important. So, the where of glycolysis, it happens in the cytoplasm of the cell. The what, we're breaking down glucose into pyruvate, and in return, we're making ATP and NADH. And then the why is to give our cells energy. So, if you're thinking big pictures, if you're connecting your concepts together, if I were to ask you what hormone turns glycolysis on and which one blocks it off? So this is how you should be thinking about these cycles. Don't focus on the nitty-gritty details, focus on the big picture. So if glycolysis is breaking glucose down to make pyruvate and like some form of energy, that means it's going to be turned on by insulin, because insulin means I have a lot of glucose going around in my bloodstream. I want to break it down to give me some energy. So it's going to be turned on by insulin, blocked by glucagon. And then the other thing I want you to know is the fate of pyruvate. So there's two routes we have. So if you have oxygen in your bloodstream, that pyruvate is going to be turned into acetyl-CoA, and that acetyl-CoA is going to go into the Krebs cycle, which we will review tomorrow. If you do not have oxygen, you're going to be making lactate via lactate dehydrogenase. And I want you to know that lactate is still giving you energy, but definitely not as much as when you have oxygen. So lactate, in return, regenerates NAD plus. I wrote it somewhere right there. So it regenerates NAD plus, so we can do this glycolysis over and over and over again. So we're still making energy, right? We're making two ATPs per cycle, but it's definitely not as much as when you have oxygen, but it's still something. And then again, the NADH, if we have oxygen, is going to go into mitochondria, the ETC, to generate about like 30 to like 34, I think, ATP. But if we do not have oxygen, that NADH is going to be converted to pyruvate. Again, that pyruvate is going to be converted to lactate, and we're going to regenerate NAD plus to do glycolysis over again to just form a little bit of energy. So I'm going to be doing Krebs cycle next, so follow for the high yield big picture info you need to know.